Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World, and in this video I'm going to go over a tier list update. I'm going to take into account the 3 buffs that we saw for Viole, Gustang and Urek, and then I'm also going to rank Kallavan. That's basically what we're going to do in this video. There are not going to be any other changes, I would say. I had a quick look at the tier list and I feel like it's more or less okay so far. I will wait for White and Anna to see if they somehow bring up some other units or outclass somebody else. So maybe there might be more changes then. But for right now, I don't feel like there are any big changes to the tier list that you are currently looking at. So yeah, that's basically it. And since the buffs for Viole, Gustang and Urek were all on the Revolution 4 and 5, there are not going to be any changes in this section here with the up to Revolution 3 category, and we're only going to see changes when we go look at the Revolution 6 portion of the tier list. And here I will start with Kallavan at this point because we, again, as I said, there are no changes in the up to Revolution 3 part. And from my point of view, Kallavan without Revolution and low dupes or in general as a unit is not that great. I mean, this guy depends a lot on deficit more than other units, I will say, because he really relies on his passive, and for his passive it doesn't need to take more than 15% of his max HP. If he does, he will lose the stacks, he will die, and it will deal no damage. If the damage he receives is below that, then he's amazing. So that's really the soft spot. This is like one of those units that the higher the deficit, the worse he gets. Well, I mean, most units are like that, but like there are exceptions, more or less. So this guy is heavily influenced by that. So if you fully invest in him and you're around 200, 250 deficit, it will be a fucking monster because it will not often take more than 15% max HP as damage, which means it's just going to destroy enemies and be unkillable. Like at the moment, I'm not at high deficits. I'm currently auto-progressing through adventure and I'm at around 200 deficit. This guy takes no damage. Like there is not a single fight where he actually gets damaged, and he's insane. But like this is something that's not going to last forever, and the better your units, the better investment you have in some of them, you will start pushing higher deficits and this guy will start falling behind. So that's my main problem with him, and that's why he's only in A tier, though he might deserve a bit more. So yeah, that's more or less the reason why. Let me know in the comments if you agree or not. But yeah, I feel like this is a really weird unit. Like, he's insanely good at low to mid deficits, which don't matter much. But he really starts to suck. Like, if he's at 300 deficit, I'm sure he will just die. I'm not there yet. I will try to get there eventually, as soon as I have more time to push harder and harder and dedicate some time to actually catching up finally. But yeah, definitely I can see this unit being entirely useless. And he's a tank. He's not supposed to be a damage dealer, but his kit is pure damage. It doesn't provide anything to the team. He has no way to draw the attention of the enemies. He has some crowd controls that is nice, but in general, like, he's a weird tank. And I wouldn't have given him the tank role, but since he had to be green, tank was the only remaining role, let's say. So they kind of had to. But yeah, at least there is a good thing here that Kallavan has a lot of damage, even though he isn't a tank. So there are good chances for White to also be a really good damage dealer, even if he's a warrior. So if Netmarble is not completely out of their mind, they should be able to pull it off and make White actually pretty good, but we'll see. We'll see White next week. So far, that's pretty much it. Not much else for Kallavan. Revolution 3, we're going to look at the Revolution 6 part in a second, I would say. And yeah, we could start with him directly. For up to Revolution 6, I placed him in A+. Just a bit of an upgrade thanks to his Revolution 4, but it's not that insane. Anyway, the Revolution 5, I'm still not sure exactly what they mean by reducing the cooldown of the Alti Seal by 1 second at the start of a battle. I'm still not sure, because 1 second is such a short time that I'm not even sure it's barely, I don't even know if it's noticeable. But the Revolution 4 is definitely nice. If you have 5 stacks, this is 75% special move pierce. So Revolution 4, huge increase in damage. And Revolution 4 also opens up the attack subnode. And Revolution 5 has the defense subnode that I decided to invest in for the 15%, because you really want to capitalize on the passive. If he takes damage, this guy is useless. So you really want to make it so you have as much resistances and defense as possible, so that you take less than 15% max HP per hit, so that you reduce it to 0. That's the whole plan. So that's why I also invested in defense, and that's why with Revolution 5, even though they're not too insane, I mean, Revolution 4 is good, but it wouldn't really warrant for that big of an upgrade. I think the subnodes with attack and defense definitely help a bit more, especially in the early on, getting the first few stacks and getting some more defense, and then tanking a bit more. So that's my reasoning as to why this guy went up to A+. Again, this guy could easily be S+ if you are below 250. This guy can easily be C if you are around 300, 350 deficit, at which point this guy is entirely useless. That's why he's sort of in the middle kind of thing. Just keep that in mind, what I said. Depends a lot on your deficit. So yeah. And okay, that's enough for Kallavan. Let's move on to the other 3 units that were buffed. We will start with Urek. Urek, before it was A, I moved him up to A+. I'll be honest, his buffs are not that insane. On paper, they're fine, but you cannot really capitalize on them. Now his damage is acceptable, let's call it that, but it's nowhere near enough. So if we look at the Revolution, we will just see that here they added an 80% attack and defense increase for 10 seconds each time a Shinsu barrier is broken, max 5 stacks. And yeah, again, his active skill is going to create a Shinsu barrier on allies as well. And whenever one of those is broken, you'll get this. It's not a bad buff, actually it's pretty solid, and Urek can at least now survive a bit longer than he used to. His damage is going to be a bit higher. Is that important? Is that going to make him relevant? I don't know. Probably was a bit harsh on him for putting him to just A+. Might as well go to S. Maybe with an arrow down. Could be. I will test him out a bit more, but for now I'm kind of skeptical. I didn't really get great results on him, so I think it's still the usual Urek that's kind of average. For PvP will be quite solid, but not for adventure, I would say. And the other one, there is the special move Pierce. That is definitely solid, and the attack and defense increase from 15 to 20%. And the stacks are 5, which is up to 100% special move Pierce, based on how many times you see it by status effect attacks, which is nice. Unfortunately, if you have teams with a lot of crowd control, if you keep prevent the enemies from doing stuff, then it will not proc his passive as often, and you will not get the stacks that easily. So yeah, you kind of want him to be a hit, and in some teams there are anti-synergies. It is what it is. On paper is a really good buff, and I think it's definitely helping, but I wouldn't really bother with using Urek all that much, even after the buffs. So that's pretty much it for him. Then we have Gustang, that I will also... Where is he? Here. Oh, okay, I gave him the Christmas outfit. Then we have Gustang. He got The additional scaling on the bots, instead of 80%, it's now 100. And then the other part remains the same. Whenever a patrol dies, the skill cooldown, the remaining skill cooldown is decreased by 50%. Okay, fine. And what's really important is the Revolution 5. Before it was only 50% defense increase. Now it is attack and defense increase by 50%, 2 stacks, which is likely going to be 100%, and always up after the second special move, which is pretty solid. This definitely helps a ton. He already has attack buffs in the passive, and this brings him to give a higher attack buff than Kunagero. So from my point of view, he's now better than him. Before, I found myself using Kunagero a lot more than Gustang, but now definitely Gustang has a main and fixed spot in my purple teams. And Gustang is not, again, limited to purple teams. It doesn't have anything that says you have to play him with purple. No, you can play him wherever you want. He has nice swiftness buff and swiftness debuffs on the enemies. He can remove debuffs, and he can also heal quite a bit. And the damage he deals now is quite substantial. This increase from 80% to 100 is definitely noticeable. So overall, he's a good unit. Now there is nothing I can say against him. So yeah, I feel like he's as relevant as Yura. That's why I put him in S+. To be honest, I'm kind of tempted to move up Nare as well. I would like to put Nare in S+, maybe with an arrow down. We'll see. I'll think more about it, just because Nare is so useful when it comes to like special move based units, and Joaquin might be one of those as well. He's a warrior, so I'm not expecting him to be able to use a unit like Mamanak. So Nare would gain more value once he's released, but we'll see. We'll see when he's out. I will try him with Nare, and if that's the case, I might as well increase Nare as well. She's really good. So yeah, that's more or less it for Gustang as well. And the last one, Viole. It was out of the meta, unfortunately, since Revolution was released. Now they buffed his Revolution quite a lot, and I'm currently running him on Sundance, mainly because I don't have a second L set. But I will say I'm pretty happy with how Sundance is working on him, because like I see his basic attacks actually dealing quite a bit of damage on the enemies. His main source of damage is still the banks, but I would say his basic attacks now also are pretty relevant. And even with Albelda, he's still casting quite a good number of them. So I think Sundance, all in all, is a perfectly viable choice. And yeah, that's just a thing I was mentioning. But okay, if we look at the Revolution 4, other than the useless part where he actually heals or removes status effects when hit by a close range attack, yes, fine, whatever. He also gets the Viole's basic attacks gain 2 additional projectiles. His attack speed is increased by 5, and basic attack pierce is increased by 6% each time his basic attack hits. Max 20 stacks. Now, the 2 additional projectiles is like taking it from 3 to 5, so it's not a super huge increase, but I would say like a 60-ish% increase, not bad. And we have the attack speed portion, which is up to 100 attack speed, and the basic attack pierce one is up to 120%, is pretty insane. And if you look at what I upgraded, I still haven't upgraded the basic attack pierce. I wasn't sure how impactful his basic attacks were, but I'm pretty sure I will now just increase it. And for the CDR, I left it at half the value. Is not 20 out of 20, so it's not 30%, it's only 15%. But yeah, definitely more potential for growth. I could invest a bit more in him. And what the hell? Wait a second, guys. How is it I didn't upgrade the attack speed? Well, while I'm at it, let me just also increase his basic attack pierce to 20 and the cooldown reduction to 20 as well. I will then barely have, well, not that it matters for white, he has such shitty subnotes that I don't even have to invest anything, so it's fine. Let me also just put this, and yeah, good. So, okay, back to this one, I don't know why I closed it. So this Revolution 4 effect is pretty massive, really, really good. And the Revolution 5 effect is also nice. Okay, the first part is the same, double radius on the explosion, but then there is this immediately cast again. From what I could see, it seems to happen like every single time he casts the black hole sphere while the thorn is active, which if you play with a build Revolution 5 will happen quite a lot. Otherwise, just once, but it is pretty good. I mean, 2 times black hole sphere is definitely really, really solid, and also reduces the need of like hoping for good RNG because you will cast it 2 times. And at times I feel like this is better than just double damage, because if it's double damage on an unlucky positioned black hole sphere, then that sucks. But casting it 2 times could be that one time the black hole sphere hits the wrong targets, the second time it might hit the right ones. So I feel like have it cast 2 times helps. Well, one, keeping the crowd control a bit longer because the black hole sphere actually stands, but also makes it a bit more reliable from my point of view. So yeah, definitely happy with this buff. I feel like now Viole is the best DPS in the red element. For me, obviously, because my Evankel is just stupid, but also for most people, I think now Viole will definitely be more solid. Here I added a link because like this guy doesn't have any additional crit rate, so you kind of want to run a Yellowy with him, and also Yellowy really works well in terms of all 3 buffs that she provides. And also you want to run Albelda Revolution 5. If Albelda is not Revolution 5, still fine, due to the fact that this guy actually received a great buff to the basic attacks as we saw in the Revolution 4, so it's still okay. Revolution 5 definitely gives that additional burst to his damage, which is nice. So yeah, super happy with how Viole turned out. They probably overdid themselves with this Revolution 4, but it was very much needed, I believe. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for the tier list. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you feel like there should be some changes, let me know. I will evaluate them, as I mentioned, as we get the release of Anna and White. I'm going to see if they interact well with some of the least used units, and then there might be some more changes then, I would say. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.